Hi everyone, how are you doing today? I'm doing pretty good for a Friday. Today is Friday, February 2nd. Happy Groundhog's Day. If you follow Groundhog's Day and Punxsutawney Phil, you will have seen that he saw his shadow, which means 6 more weeks of winter. I don't know if how I like that forecast, but that's what happened. So first off, I want to thank everyone for all of the encouragement and comments on my recent videos and Instagram feeds. I am very appreciative of all of the votes of support for my continued stitching and health improvements. Last night I posted on Instagram my continued work on Henry, and I had mentioned how I just needed some encouragement, and because I just, with everything going on in my life, I've just been kind of like, my projects have really not been calling to me, but I really didn't want to I didn't want to start a new start because I knew that would just overwhelm me. So I asked for some encouragement working on Henry last night. And by the time I woke up in the morning, I had close to 30 comments just saying, which really helped and motivated me to continue wanting to work on Henry. So thank you all. I know many of you have said you can't wait to see this finished. I can't wait to see this finished either. I'm starting to get very anxious about getting it done. So that I can work on some other projects. I think we all have times that we feel like that. So today's color, as you can see, we're working on Henry. We're in the bottom left-hand corner of, this is page 19. Now, this isn't the 19th page I've worked on. This is page 19 in the pattern. It's the first page of the 4th row. And there's 6 pages in a row, which would make this number 19. And the color of the day is 3371. And actually, just before I started filming, I had to bobbinate a new skein of 3371, and I'm telling you, that was a real quick bobbinating, and I'm pretty proud of that bobbination. That's by hand too. Anyways, enough gloating about my bobbinating skills. So today we're just working in this bottom corner of 3371. There's a good bit of it in the bottom corner here, so I figured it would be something easy that I could work on while talking to you. Once I get this corner done, as you can see, I've finished the coat in this section just before I started filming. And then I'm going to move up here, and there's some brown and 3371 and 310 in through here. And then we get into the confetti heavy section of his sleeve. So I have a personal goal of trying to get this page done before the next Friday, because next Friday I will not be joining you guys for the stitching. I will be hosting my own biannual Olympics opening ceremonies party. So I have some friends coming over to watch the opening ceremonies and have dinner and just hang out and chat and chill and, you know, all those fun things, because the Olympics are fun. And since the Olympics are every 2 years, that's when I have my party. So I will not be stitching along next Friday, but I'm sure many of you will be. And I still plan on having my video up for Saturday morning. So anyways, today I have Letitia's, the Crafty Curator, the Crafty Curator Tag. She had written Letitia wrote a tag for all of us to participate in and this week, and I have not watched any Stitch With Me videos yet this week, so that I can have genuine, unbiased answers to these questions. Honestly, most of the questions I haven't even read yet, so this will be interesting to see what Letitia has asked. But before we get to that, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about my day today. So I'm filming this on Friday night, while I'm stitching with the Stitchin'. And last night, I was really tired and beat. I was still suffering from migraine. Still have a little bit of it today, actually. But it is getting better. And so I went to bed about midnight last night, exhausted. Fell asleep fairly quickly, like I usually do. And don't you know, I wake up wide awake at 4 a.m. Couldn't sleep anymore. So I only had 4 hours of sleep last night. And then so I woke up 4 o'clock wide awake, restless, not wanting to lay in bed, not wanting to, you know, lounge around. So I got up and I went to the gym. Actually, I did the dishes in the kitchen first, and then I went to the gym. So I was at the gym at 5 a.m. right when they opened. Did my half hour of cardio, 30 minutes in the dry heat sauna. And can I tell you, people, when you go into the dry heat sauna, people are trying to relax. Don't sing. Don't play music so loud through your headphones that people can hear it. Especially at 5:30 in the morning. Anyways, if you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen my story about that. So, let's see, where do we want to go to? Okay. Then, of course, I had to go to work and then come home, and now I'm relaxing, stitching most of the night. So, anyways, let's get to Letitia's, the Crafty Curator Tag. So this is a tag of 14 questions. Most of them, I think it's just a random selection of questions that she had come up with. So, and now that I'm looking at them, I maybe should have read them first, because I think a couple of them I'm not going to have answers for. So, number 1. If you could wish for a person in history to be represented in a memorabilia pattern, who would it be? Now, I am not a fan of memorabilia patterns. I'm not saying that I don't appreciate them. I do. At this point in my life, I probably will not stitch one, but you know, I guess you should never say never because tastes change. But I would be interested in seeing. Now, I know Mirabilias are only women because it's Nora Corbett, right? Nora Corbett likes designing women. So I would like to see Queen Victoria. I think that would be a good one. Somebody from like the 1800s, set in, you know, the 1800s clothing. Yeah. Queen Victoria. Plus, she's different because she's not, you know, typically when you think of Queen Victoria, you think of her in her old, worn out, aged look, whereas I know, you know, the new TV show on PBS and BBC show her as it's young Victoria. So yeah, I would like to see Victoria. Number 2. What landmark area of the world would you have loved to see captured in a chatelaine? I think a really neat area of the world that would have been nice in a chatelaine would have been Hong Kong. Because, you know, the skyscrapers. I was lucky enough to go to Hong Kong while I was living in Korea. I got to go for a whirlwind vacation, like a 3-day weekend. And I absolutely loved it because of the skyscrapers. But I am a skyscraper fiend. I love skyscrapers. So I would say Hong Kong. Moving here. Number 3. What are the top 3 places you want to visit that you've never been to, other than New Jersey in May, of course? Well, you know, New Jersey is not my top pick because I live in New Jersey, and I will be here in May. I won't be at the retreat, but I will be here. So if you're driving through southern New Jersey, going to the retreat, hit me up. I might be available. Anyways, 3 places I want to visit that I've never been to. One would be old Europe, Eastern Europe, Budapest, Prague, those areas. Number 2 would be Western Europe, London, Rome, Germany, Berlin, and number 3 would be Russia, Moscow, St. Petersburg. Definitely love the architecture, love the culture, the Russian culture. I don't know, just I guess those would, I've never been to Europe. I've been to Asia. I've never been to Europe. Would love to go. And I'm going to throw in one more, Iceland. I would love to see Iceland. My brother has been to Iceland. It looks pretty neat. He went up to see the Aurora Borealis a couple years ago. I would be interested in going to Iceland. Number 4. What is it that you most love? Sorry, what is it that you love most about stitching? This is a multi-part question. What do I love most about stitching? For me, it's relaxing. It's creative, because prior to stitching, I was not a very creative person. And it keeps me busy whenever I'm sitting at home watching TV, because I think we talked about this before. I struggle with needing to do something whenever I'm watching TV. I can't just sit there and just watch TV. I need to be active and keep my hands and my mind busy. What would you miss most about stitching if you could no longer do it? I would miss the creativity, everything I just answered. I would also miss the fact that it helps me with my migraines. And it helps distract me from the pain of the migraine, I think. And then therefore I forget about the pain and I'm able to fight through the headache. Number 5. What is the last movie that made you cry? Oh my gosh, I have no idea. Yes, I do know. What is the name of that movie? I think it was called Victoria, and it's that Victoria one with Dame Judi Dench. Is it Victoria and Abdul? Was that who it was? I think that's the last movie that made me cry. And not really cry, because I don't usually show much emotion. Ever. But I think I did tear up in it. Number 6. Tell me a joke. Sorry, Letitia. I'm not a jokey person. I don't have jokes. I don't know any jokes. Number 7. Hold on, let me finish. Get caught up to this row here. Okay, let me mark these real quick. Oh, shoot. Okay, so number 7. If you could be any animal or insect, what would you be and why? Oh my gosh, I should have researched these questions first. If I could be any animal or insect, I would be... I don't know. I would be an eagle. I think I would be an eagle. Because you would get a nice view of the world. when flying, even though flying makes me sick, so I don't know. One, two, three. Four. Number 8. I'm actually going through these pretty fast, but you know. Number 8 for Letitia's the Crafty Curator Tag. Say something that you love about 2 random floss tubers and why we should watch them. Don't name the person that sent you this tag. Well, that would be Letitia that sent me the tag. And she won't count in my list, but I do love watching Letitia because she's relaxing and calming to listen to. She has great haul, and she does a lot of different projects that I typically wouldn't do. Okay. So now the 2 floss tubers that I love. 2 random floss tubers and why we should watch them. Okay, let me think here. Let me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me go over 5 first. And then while I think, one, two, three, okay, so the first one that I want to that I'm going to say is Stitch All the Things, and I'm sorry I don't remember your name, but I just found her channel not too long ago. I think she's up to 3 or 4 videos. I know she lives in Arizona most of the time, and then in I think Oregon part of the time. I love her videos because to me she comes off a little hyper, which is, for me, especially in the evenings when I'm watching FlossTube, it helps me to get excited about my projects and cross-stitch in general. And she works on some pretty neat stuff. And she's funny. So I'm sorry I don't remember your name, but I will tag you below. So Stitch All the Things. And then my second one would be... trying to think of some people that the other one I'm going to say is, okay, so people that I typically watch on FlossTube are people that do not stitch similar things to me. I do watch people that do stitch similar things, and one of them is Minty Stitcher, Mindy. And she's fairly new, and I met her at the cross-stitch retreat in Minnesota. And I love her channel. And I think I just shouted her out the other day. She is a natural in front of the TV, or in front of the camera. And so she's really easy and enjoyable to listen to, relaxing. But she stitches a lot of things that I like, which is rare in the cross-stitch world. And her and I talk all the time about plans and projects and whips and things that we're working on, and yeah, we have a lot of similar tastes. Now, of course, there are things that she does that I don't like. What, you know, like, not saying that they're, you know, it's bad, but it's just, you know, Halloween and that type of stuff. But a lot of things, and one of the ones that she's working on right now that she needs to keep going with is her Sew to Stitch 4 Seasons. I love that piece, and I think it's going to look great when it's done. Okay. So those are my 2 random floss tubers. So one is Stitch All the Things in Arizona. And 2 is Minty, M-I-N-T-Y Stitcher. I'll link them both below. Okay. If you found that you were suddenly unable to stitch, what would you do with your stash? Does anyone in your family know what to do with it if you couldn't advise them? The answer is I have no idea and no. I have no idea what I would do with my stash if I couldn't stitch anymore. I would probably hold on to it with the hope that I may be able to down the road. But if I would ever become incapacitated and not be able to stitch, I don't think any of my friends or family would have a clue with what to do with my stash. But that makes you think, you know, you should set things up so if something would ever happen, because you never know when something might happen, that it goes to people or you have a plan to do with it what you would want, you know, like a will. So, good questions, Letitia. Making me think here. What I don't want to be doing on a Friday night. Okay. What number are we on? If we're on number 10. Let me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again. One, two, three, 4, and 5. Okay. Now that I'm set up, I can answer the next question. What was your stitching like before social media became inundated with cross-stitching? Did you stitch less? Did you stitch more? Did you even have such a thing as a rotation? I do not have a rotation. And I did not stitch prior to finding cross-stitch and floss tube on social media. So my answer is non-existent. My cross-stitch was non-existent before social media. When I got back into stitching a year and a half ago, July 2016, I went on to YouTube looking for just some videos to maybe improve my stitching ability, and I found floss tube, and I have been hooked ever since. And then I started an Instagram feed whenever I started cross stitching, and that led to Hey, not sure what happened. Actually, I do know what happened there. I got interrupted with a FaceTime. So I guess I need to turn my airplane mode on next time because I did not expect anybody to call me. So as you can see, I got a little bit advanced on my stitching while I was talking on the phone. So we were talking about Punxsutawney Phil, and I grew up about an hour from Punxsutawney and went to school, college, my undergrad and master's about a half hour from Punxsutawney. So I have been through Punxsutawney many, 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 many times. To be honest, it's not much to write home about. Anyways, let's get back to finishing this tag so that we can enjoy everyone else's videos. So let me find the rest of my questions. I don't even remember where we are at. Oh, okay. So it was number 10. We finished number 10 and we are on number 11. Do you find that cross-stitching on social media has helped you stay focused or caused you to become distracted? I think I am indifferent to the effects of social media on my cross-stitch. And then going on into the question, if it has helped you stay focused, how do you manage to stay active on social media and still be productive in your stitching? If it has distracted you from your stitching, what have you done to get back on track with your stitching but still remain active in the community? To be honest, I'm a member of multiple groups, like in Facebook. I do my posts every night, every day I stitch, or most days when I stitch, on Instagram. That is my main thing, is Instagram, and I communicate with a lot of friends through Instagram. And if you want to start a conversation with me, feel free to reach out to me through Instagram, Gerald Stitcher. Ginger.gerald.stitcher. Anyways, as far as Facebook is concerned, I have been a member of many groups, Stitchmania, Cross Stitch Finish Line, but I haven't really ever been the Heaven and Earth Designs group, but I haven't ever really been an active member in those groups. I just haven't really had the interest in. I'm not a big Facebook fan to begin with, and I appreciate everyone who has sent me a friend request, but I do have a few stitchers that are my personal friends on Facebook, but that's because I have true strong conversations and friendships with those people. Otherwise, I appreciate it, but I'm probably just going to, I don't want to say ignore your friend request, but I'm not going to probably accept it unless we build a true friendship. Because if I do post stuff on Facebook other than stitching, it's far and few between. I'm not very active other than through the Off the Grid Friday Party group. So, yeah. So really, I think that Instagram has helped me maintain a log. I appreciate that, and I can look back and see what I've done, and especially like projects like Henry, and see how far I've come along with him, especially whenever I'm working in a lot of confetti and heavy stuff that's really monotonous and weighing down. So I'm mainly indifferent, but appreciate some of the positive aspects of it. Number 12. Excuse me, I'm going to cough. Or not. I have a t-shirt that says, "Cross-stitching saved my life once." Tell us about a time when cross-stitching saved your life or someone else's. I wouldn't say it has saved my life, but it has improved my life. It has improved my quality of living because of the benefits I have through improving my migraines. Now, I know most people that when they say they have a migraine, they can't stitch. I'm kind of the opposite. If I have a migraine setting in, I can often start cross-stitching and avert the migraine. Now, of course, if it gets to be too bad, or one that I'm still trying to get over, and it's one of those multi-dayers, yeah, no. But for the most part, it does help me with my migraines. Okay, 2 more questions. If you were to look at your stash and the types of patterns that you have collected, what would your cross stitch say about you? Are you dark and dramatic? Are you warm, cuddly, and cute? Are you whimsical and magical? Are you primitive with a love for the old-fashioned patterns from the days of old? Are you colorful and adventurous and not easily defined? I think in a lot of ways I'm colorful and adventurous and not easily defined. And I say that because, yes, I have a definitive type of stitching, but in the last year I've really broadened my horizons on the type of stuff I will stitch, such as Ornamental Joy by Country Cottage Needleworks. But I also think I am colorful and adventurous because I am willing to break away from the mold and choose fabrics and that are not the called for, choose flosses to do color conversions, such as my Ornamental Joy, that are far distant from what the initial design called for. And I think that is one thing that I'm really trying to push many of you to do with some of my designs, because I think it's important to know that, yes, the pattern is there. It's only there as a guide. You know, we want to, of course, give credit to the designers, but then it's a way to be creative. And once you own that pattern, you can branch out and do what you want with it. Because through purchasing the pattern, you have given credit to the designer, but then use your creativity to make it your own. Just like Ornamental Joy for me. If it is not something I would typically do because I'm not a big seasonal holiday stitcher, but through changing the fabric and the colors, that is definitely something I would display in my house next year and plan to. Which I need to get that framed. Anyways. So I would say I am colorful, adventurous, and not easily defined. Yet I have a fairly strong, definitive style, such as historical, architectural, non-seasonal. I don't like a lot of words. And I do like color, but I don't like bold colors. I like earthy colors. Okay. And the very last question in Letitia's The Crafty Curator Tag is, name something that was the telltale sign that you were addicted to cross-stitch without hope of redemption. What was your aha moment? I think my telltale sign was whenever I couldn't get enough floss tube videos. But then I also think it was whenever I learned about, I never knew what Etsy was prior to cross stitch. And I think it really helped me to realize the types of patterns and things that are out there. And it's not just that old-fashioned, I don't even want to say it's old-fashioned because 80s and 90s is not that old. But you know what I mean. So I think having the epiphany of knowing what kind of patterns are now available and the types of fabrics that are available and the types of threads and fibers and I'm going to use the word notions that are available. has really helped me light a fire for cross stitch. But I also think it's another way for me to show my creativity and to explore keeping me active and keeping my mind going and keeping my hands going and having that creative side. Because since college, since I no longer really sing professionally or anything, I haven't been, prior to cross stitch, I wasn't creative. I didn't really draw, but I had always wanted to. And honestly, it was the concussion a couple years ago that really reignited my passion for the creativity and the creative arts. So yeah. So I want to thank Letitia for this wonderful tag, and I hope all of you who make videos look into it. The questions can be found on the Facebook group, Off the Grid Friday Party. Once you're a member, if you go to the Files tab, you can download the questions and answer them on your videos. And if you're not a video making member of the group and you have Instagram, use your stories. Answer one a day or post it in your feed. Just, answer the questions so that all of us can get to know you a little better. So, I plan on recording another video this weekend. I will hope to have it up on Monday, and then my regular update will be out on Wednesday. And we will enjoy the first week of February. Enjoy everyone else's videos. Happy stitching, and I will see you next week.